Coach, can you just kind of give us an overview of how you thought the offense performed this past week?
Started out real slow, had two, 3-and-outs the whole game, and it was the first two drives. And so if you look at the first drive of the game, I mean, we went 3-and-out with 2 drops, you know. So I mean, I thought that, again, we came out, it was, the time of the game was a little bit different, so I don't think we started very fast. You know, we went 2, 3-and-outs, and then when we finally got going, I mean, we played decent at times. Definitely not good enough to win.
Shades of Kentucky almost. I mean, you find yourself down 21-0. Does that change what you're doing? It looked like you guys it didn't really affect what.
No, not really. I mean, I try not to even look at the scoreboard regardless, you know. Just try to do stuff that's working and try to figure out what their identity is defensively and roll from there. You know, they came out with they had a week off, and so they came out with a little different personality. And so we had to be a little more methodical because they were playing off. And so, you know, didn't change really anything, but we just needed to execute. You know, we didn't at the beginning, and then we kind of settled in and executed for the most part sporadically throughout the course of the game. But there were a couple of situations where we could have cut it to 1 score and we didn't. You know, and that was really where I thought we failed. You know, there were one instance where it's 28-14. And we have the ball on the 35, 40-yard line, and we sputter out, you know. And we make that a one-possession game, and at the end of the game, you know, we make it a one-possession game, and things get interesting. And in those 2 situations, you know, we got to get to the point offensively where in those 2 situations we score, and we make it a game.
For years, it seemed like the LSU defense has been big and fast. Is it still all about execution for you?
What are you talking about moving forward? No doubt. You know, the thing about them is, you know, there's no trick. You know, that you know where they're going to line up. You know, a lot like everybody in that league. You know, they don't need a whole lot of window dressing. You know, and so we just gotta have a good plan and execute. There's no doubt. They can still only put 11 out there. So.
Coach, looked like you were without Jacob Fleming this past week. Could you just talk a little bit about how you thought Will performed, and if you have Fleming next week?
I thought he played well. You know, and nobody played, you know, without scars for sure. You know, everybody had things that they can do better. But I thought for the most part, Will brings an edge and that we like. And so, I mean, we'll be happy to get Fleming back, obviously, too, because we need depth up there, there's no doubt. And that's a great battle, you know. Anytime you got competition at a position, whether who's going to start or who's not going to start, it just makes you better. You can just ask Nick that from a few years ago, right? I mean, competition definitely makes you better.
Do you think this LSU game is more of a challenge coming off of a loss, or do you think maybe it gives your team a little bit more motivation?
I think it's going to be challenging regardless. I mean, you know, I really don't know about. I mean, I don't know I wish I knew the inside of the psychology of the game enough to answer that question. But to me, you live week to week, and I said that a few weeks ago when we won. You know, just every 7 days is different. You know, so I mean, we didn't play well Saturday. We didn't play well enough to win. But guess what? The sun came up Monday, and we got to move forward. You know, so I mean, it'd been no different if we went down there and won. Then we got to deal with success. You know, you're dealing with something. You're dealing with some kind of mental demon every time, and so and now we're dealing with, we got to bounce back. You know, and so I definitely think that when you get a setback like that, it don't take a whole lot to get people's attention. You know, and so I mean, everybody's searching. You got to get back, and you just gotta get back, and you got to grind it out.
Nick's anticipated to be all right. I mean, you expect him to be able to go this week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Anything else?
Some keys against LSU, you know, is it you going to be primarily a passing team or running team, or you kind of just?
What are you talking about as far as we're concerned?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to keep that a secret if at all possible. Don't tell them exactly what we're doing. But I mean, look, we gotta, you know, and I think that, you know, going back to last week's game a little bit, you know, we gotta run the ball better. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, we can't sit back there and pick people apart when they're playing coverages. And so, we have to be able to run the ball efficiently, and I think that, at times we ran the ball decent, but I'm talking about consistently, we have to be able to run the ball better. And so, that goes top to bottom, you know, I mean, we gotta have a good run game plan, we gotta execute it, we gotta put people in position, you know, and I mean, I think that's no different moving forward this week, you know, I mean, is LSU big and physical? Yes, but guess what? I mean, that doesn't mean that you just go in and say, we can't do this and can't do that. I mean, we gotta run the ball effectively to win the game, and win any game, not just this game, you know, and so, I mean, that's a point of emphasis week in and week out, and so, it was the same way going into this week's game, and so this past week's game, so it's not gonna change.
Being from Louisiana, is it, I mean, any sort of extra juice on your part or anything?
No, I mean, I've played them before. We had them, I think, my first year at West Virginia. We played them, and, you know, to me, I mean, I don't even think about things like that. I mean, I didn't really grow up an LSU fan anyway, so, I mean, it's not like that's a big deal to me. I mean, they came up that first year, and good game. I think they returned the kickoff right at the end and beat us, but, you know, I mean, to me, you line up and play, you know, all that stuff doesn't matter to me.
How about now, anything else?
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.